Sir, how is NIFTEM slated to transform the Indian food sector in terms of human resource development, research, and building enterprises?
Well, to tell you the truth, the Indian food processing sector is still at a very nascent stage. The sector started growing in about, let's say, 8 to 10 years ago. It has grown very fast. It is outpacing all the other sectors of the economy, as you know. For the last few quarters, it has been growing at around 15 to 16% per annum, while other manufacturing sectors have been growing at 3%, 4%, 5%. So the sector has a lot of potential. It is growing in spite of all the drawbacks which is facing. For example, the sector's first sort of obstacle is lack of trained manpower, which it doesn't get. A study shows that by 2022, that is next 5 years, we'll need to train about 2.5 million people in the whole country, so as the food processing sector can get those trained people to work. Now, the industry also says that that if you do not have skilled manpower, they have to take whatever comes their way. They have to recruit people because they have to run their unit. They can't close it down. So their industrial efficiency and productivity suffers by about 30-35%, just because of one reason, that is lack of skilled manpower availability. So here NIFTEM has drawn a very ambitious program of running a skill development campaign, which is pan-India, which is going to be launched next year with the 12th plan funding of the Government of India. It will be, the aim is to skill 2.5 million people in the next 5 years. And the idea is to take help of all the existing institutions, existing infrastructure, existing trainers, and just upgrading their way of working. Like, you upgrade the knowledge of the trainer, you upgrade the infrastructure which is available for training, and you also upgrade those institutions which are doing skilling. Then you develop a sort of a certified and standardized curricula for different kinds of training which is needed. You roll out the whole training plan all over the country, get it evaluated by independent agencies from time to time, make corrections, and ultimately the certification of the whole operation has to be done by an independent agency. So that this training is not a training where people come and just sit and spend some time and have their lunches and go. But this training would be something which will award a certificate to a person, would mean that person really has that knowledge to work in that industry at that particular level. Because the industry has many levels. For example, the highest level of industry where you need engineers and managers, they need more than 50,000 people in the next 5 years. While if you take all the institutions which run food technology courses or food science courses in our country, they produce hardly about 2,200 people in 1 year. So where will the industry get their people? That is why NIFTEM has also launched its BTech and MTech course in food technology and management. And here we have a very innovative course, which is the only one of its kind in the whole world, I can claim that, because it has a blend of technology and management in the same program. The course is called BTech in Food Technology and Management. So that is one way of NIFTEM's effort to fill the skill gap in the food processing sector. Similarly, excuse me, as far as research is concerned, we are at a very, very preliminary stage in our country. Research, let's say for product development, you have hundreds of varieties of cheese, maybe in France or maybe in US or maybe in Netherlands, but you have only one variety of cottage cheese that we know. So why can't we have, when we produce so much of milk, of different varieties, whether it is buffalo milk, cow milk, everything we have, why can't we do research and produce many, many more variety of cheese? That was only one example I gave. So, product development research is at a very, I'd say, beginning level, where NIFTEM has made a lot of plans. We have established 14 laboratories here which are already established with the best possible equipments in the world. They will do research in product development, they will do research in technology development, they will do research in process development, and they will also do research in the frontier areas like nutraceuticals. use of nanotechnology in nutraceuticals. How do you fortify food by nanotechnology, using of nanotechnology? So those things are huge areas of research which the industry needs and which NIFTEM would be fulfilling tomorrow. And similarly, the knowledge which we have, the scientific knowledge which we have now in our country as well as which we are getting from our knowledge partners, different universities all over the world, we need to disseminate this scientific knowledge all over the country to the industry, to the progressive farmers and to prospective entrepreneurs also. That is also a huge outreach program which NIFTEM is going to roll out, so that a person who wants to establish a food processing industry tomorrow, whether it's small or big, has full knowledge of the scientific facts. He starts with that so that he can plan things properly in the right perspective, and the rate of success will be higher.
So where would you like NIFTEM to stand on the global forefront, like say 5 years, 10 years down the line in its intended sector?
Well, 5 years down the line, I would expect NIFTEM to stand in the same forefront as any other the best possible institutions of the world, whether it is maybe UC Davis or whether it is University of Nebraska Lincoln or whether it is Kansas State. And 10 years hence, I would like NIFTEM to even go beyond that.
Okay, that's great. So how far you have been successful? Like the journey is quite, it has just started. Like, but what has been the success so far in accomplishing this grand vision? What have been the key accomplishments so far?
The journey, of course, was very trying and very challenging. I would say only one part of the journey is fulfilled, in the sense that the physical infrastructure has been in place, and you might have seen yourself that the physical infrastructure is the best of its kind in the world now. The laboratories which we have, as I mentioned, have the best equipments in the world, you name it, and it is there. We also have the best teaching methodology, best teaching aids, which would be available in any best university of the whole world. We are now trying to, bring, as you say, putting life into the whole system. We are trying to bring in the best people into it. We are trying to bring in the best faculty. And I feel proud of my faculty when I say that till now we have selected about 32 faculties which are the best in the world. They have robust knowledge, they have good exposure, and they have commitment to the food processing sector. So the most important challenge now ahead of us is to get the brightest faculty, brightest researchers, brightest academicians, and of course the brightest students. And in that we have been, I would say, been quite reasonably successful, in the sense that this year when we advertised for 120 seats, 120 for BTech in food technology and management, we were quite wary whether we will get sufficient number of applications, because food technology is quite a new area. I mean, everybody wants to go for computers and IT these days. But to my surprise, we got 1,380 applications from all over the country. And that too, from very high ranking students of the AIEEE examination, because our basis of admission was this year AIEEE ranking. Our students ranked from 13,000 AIEEE ranking to 80,000 AIEEE ranking. There are students who have left IIT and come here because they wanted to study food technology. So that way, it's some sort of a satisfaction also that the journey has begun in a little comfortable manner, and we would like to grow this further. The students' strength would reach about 1,000 students in the campus in next 3 years. But I would say that would be a very, very small drop in the ocean, where the number required is about more than 10 to 12,000 of BTech people, BTech qualified people. We'll be producing only about, let's say, 300 to 400 per year from our institution. And if some more institutions come up, maybe we produce enough to cater to the needs of the sector.
Sir, as the founding Vice Chancellor of this grand institution, what 5 things you think would take NIFTEM to its intended heights in years to come? What 5 things would make it?
Well, I would say the first one should be people who come here should be the best. That is, their knowledge should be the best. Number 2, you take research which helps the industry and which solves their problem. Research should not be for the sake of doing research and keeping the research documents in the shelves in the university. Number three, you should become an institution which could provide solution to all the problems of the industry under one roof in the next 5 years, whether it is problem of skill development, whether it is problem of research, whether it is problem of technology development, whether it is a problem of expansion of the industry, how to go about it, or consultancy. So this is the third thing which I would like NIFTEM to do so that it positions itself properly. The fourth thing is NIFTEM should also reach the farmers in our country. The farmers need to be told about, I would say, very, very cost-effective measures to improve the shelf life of their produce, how to preserve their produce, which is not happening now. The farmer is suffering on that count. You would be knowing nearly 50,000 crores worth of produce gets lost in our country every year. It's a huge, huge loss to the farmers. So we would like NIFTEM to go across to the farmers and tell them as to how to preserve their produce, how to value add, how to convert them into some form which will have better or longer shelf life so that they don't lose that much. And lastly, we would like NIFTEM to produce entrepreneurs, not job seekers. We would like each one of our students to become an entrepreneur tomorrow, so that he doesn't go around seeking jobs, he goes around giving jobs to people.
So India has such a grand heritage in the food sector, at least. Like if we go, we have around thousands of varieties of our dhan, even in Uttaranchal. There's a documented fact.
True.
So what is the vision of NIFTEM to take advantage of the traditional wisdom which exists in this country, which is scattered and splintered all across? So what are the NIFTEM's plan in that area?
Two things we are planning. Or rather, I would say the first thing we're already implementing, that is, we have a very innovative input in our course curriculum, that is village adoption program for the students. What happens is, once the students of BTech and MTech join, a group of 5 or 7 of them adopts one village in the country. Any one village which they like. It can be a village of any one of them or whatever. They nurse that village for the next 4 years or 2 years of BTech or MTech respectively when they are here. They have to go and stay in the village thrice in a year, rather 4 times in a year, twice during the semester, like they are going now on 28th of this month. They are going to their respective villages. They will stay there for a week, then they will come back. Next semester they will do the same thing. And during the semester break, when they have holidays, summer and winter, they go there for about 3 weeks. They stay there, they get sensitized about the villages of India, what India is. How does the farmer work? How does he toil so hard and doesn't get enough? Why is it happening? Where are the inefficiencies in the supply chain? How do you plug those inefficiencies? How do you transmit your scientific knowledge to the farmers and the villages? And in this way, this will not only be one-way transfer of knowledge, but it will be two-way transfer of knowledge. The students will transfer the scientific knowledge which they carry. At the same time, the huge indigenous knowledge which we have in the villages. Indigenous knowledge about even preservation of food. There are many, very low-cost preservation of food techniques which we do not know, we have forgotten. But they stay. So students should gather that knowledge, traditional knowledge, wisdom, common sense on which a farmer works or the villager works. They'll get it back here and they'll imbibe in their own, lifestyle, their thinking. And tomorrow when they are qualified people, they'll propagate that. They will also try to, make those indigenous technologies little more efficient by wherever a little bit input of technology is needed, without making it a big sort of a capital intensive technology. Give them little technological input here and there so that indigenous technology becomes little more efficient. That is one part of it. Second, we have already started planning large scale documentation of indigenous technologies of the country in the food processing sector in 2 ways. One, to store, preserve and value add. There were value addition technologies earlier also. Like my grandmother used to keep the cauliflower dried and then she will wrap it in, not wrap it, she will, a lot of masalas would be put with that and then she will keep it for the whole year, we will eat it for the whole year. So one side those technologies, and on the other side the Indian delicacies. We have thousands and thousands of them, Indian food varieties. can we not, standardize those, recipes? Can we not make them produced on a larger scale and even export them? Indian food is a huge hit outside. We have a huge market waiting. So these are the two things we like to, catalog or, study the indigenous technologies, bring them here, try to improve them, and then make a detailed catalog of them. At the same time, catalog the Indian recipes. Of course, that will take time. It's not 1 year's job. It will take 2 to 3 years minimum. So these are the two initiatives we are trying to bring back the Indian technologies, indigenous technologies to life, and again give it back to the rural areas or the people with little improvement, technological inputs, improvements here and there.
So one last question, like after having been a career bureaucrat for so long and managing the affairs at a very, very vast level, what really prompted you to take upon this assignment and steering this institution as an academic administrator and setting it across?
Well, you have really touched the chord of one of those soft chords of my heart. To share the truth with you, academics has been my, I shouldn't call it first love because then my wife will kick me out, but this has been my first love. I did my master's in physics in 1972, way back. Did another master's in environmental sciences in 2001, and then I finished my PhD with Delhi IIT. So, I have been in academics, and the best part is, even during my career as a bureaucrat, I have been going on lecture circuits all over the country, lecturing mainly about environmental conservation issues in colleges and schools. That have been, and somehow I loved that more than, even my job, I could say so today. So I was looking for an opportunity where you can really bring those changes which you have in mind in the academic world. That yes, for example, this village adoption program was one thing which was very dear to my heart. The student today who becomes a BTech or MTech must know what India is, must know what villages are, must know what farmers are, how do they toil so much. And the bane or the unfortunate part was 90% of the students in our country who come out of schools and colleges do not know what the villages are, unless and until the student himself is from a village. So, the country doesn't develop unless you develop your villages. It will be totally lopsided development, which will create problems. So, it was my dream to, somehow get into something which will give me an opportunity to, try to do something basic in the academic world, where I can shape some maybe future generations of the country, to do something meaningful for the country.
So
that's what brought me here.
What message you would like to give to the prospective engineers as to pursue a career in food technology?
I'd like to say that first thing, you should understand food technology very well, and it's not a rocket science, so don't be afraid of it, number one. Number two, the opportunities are immense. If you think that you will get 10 jobs, you will be having 1,000 jobs, 100 times of your expectation waiting for you when you pass out. Only thing is, you should be focused. What do you want to do? Money should not be the only criteria. Of course, you will get tons of money when you go for jobs, but try to bring changes by becoming entrepreneurs. That is my message to all my students. Study food technology, become entrepreneurs, organize farmers into producer companies, change India, change Indian food sector, change Indian farming.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you very much.